call this meeting to order. Village Council Budget Workshop meeting for Wednesday, April 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now, Kurt, can you do roll call, please?
Mullins?
Yeah.
Kemp? Yes. Frost?
Yes.
Logan absent and Bailey absent.
We heard from either of them?
No, but I did call Dave because he doesn't get email and told him that there was a meeting this Friday at 7 a.m. and one this evening at 6:30, so I will call him again this afternoon and remind him about it.
All right, moving on to approval of the agenda, entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the special meeting agenda for April 16th as presented.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the agenda with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I call the public Seeing none? Moving on.
What you got, Connie?
All right, moving on to business administrative office location. Joe, you want to take this one?
This was something that was on the agenda last time, and my wife said we pushed out to the next meeting. That and Memorial Parade both were lumped together. And so we thought, well, there's the next meeting, we put it back on. I guess, questions? I was under the impression, and I even talked to Joe back when this first thing came up, when you said, hey, we put that out on our agenda, that this was kind of all within the plan when I got here. Even right before he left, him and Sue were in my office, hey, how's it going over there? When do you guys think about moving? So just reaffirming my thought and belief that that was the plan all along, so I was just kind of following that. Never really put much effort into it until this past winter when these guys were going to slow us down. I thought, well, let's just start doing some work over here. Started off mainly painting this room because, we did that ceiling repair. We had some ceiling repair to do out there where there was a leak. And in the chamber office, which is the former DDA office, there was a leak issue. We did some ceiling repairs. So then after the repairs, they started painting over there, and they painted here. And then it was just Rudy basically. Painted more. Weren't doing it. A couple other guys came and took the hardware, fixed some of the door hardware and stuff, cleaned them up, put the plates on. Mostly everything we did, we were just labor, we put about $1,000 I think into paint and stuff.
It looks great, number one. The place looks amazing. So
It was real embarrassing last year when we were here. I think everyone had that. We were sitting here,
Yeah, it
and
was.
it was all falling in. It was kind of crazy, but that was a leak. There was another leak up in the management room over here. When the guy came to do a couple fixes out here in the old open space, the drywall repair guy, he got up there and thought, check for it. He went up there and actually found that there's a leak over here, and that was coming across and causing more damage, so we had to stop it. That was around the end of the year, late December, January, and then they fixed the roof.
So I guess,
So that's kind of how I got to this point.
okay, so the proposal is maybe the wrong word, but do you want to move the office from its current location into the former township parks?
We do.
Okay.
About a year, when I first got here, or shortly after I was here, the chamber was in the old office over here, where Glenn is now.
Yeah.
They even came to me and said, it just was full of old stuff. It was kind of dingy and dark and junk everywhere. This place was full of some junk, there was some junk out there. They were thinking about moving. They said, it just doesn't give us a good, people walk in here and they look around and they go, geez, it's all kind of crumbly and messy, and they have to walk across, I don't know if they're in the right location, and we're like, so first thing we did is made a switch. Glenn had already just told me he didn't really need an office that big over there, so I went to him and said, would you mind switching, because the chamber would be much happier right over there, and they did. So that was the beginning of it. Then I thought, well, if we move over here, we'll have us, the chamber, the DDA, all in one location. Okay, make it a little more vibrant area, but this area is heated and cooled because of those other two tenants being here, the DDA and the chamber. So there's no way to not heat or cool this particular area. It's all going to get heated and cooled. At least in our area, we could turn our heat and cool down over there if we weren't there.
Okay.
Now savings, if it, but it's isolated at least over there.
And what will happen with the current location?
Well, for the current, the short term, there isn't a plan to do anything with it. just like this would sit vacant with ideas, who knows? I mentioned to Eric once even before, when he was still on council, that could have possibly be rented out. I don't know. Okay. We need access, obviously, to the basement, that you can get to the hallway.
We'll let you have access.
Well, hallway access,
Well, there you go.
What's the mailing address for the DDA?
I believe this is 22.
Because, this building's actually 20 Westbrook.
18, 20, and 22, yes.
This particular
portion.
building, right.
Yeah.
Are we gonna change our, are we just gonna make everything 22? I'm looking at cost. We
I
have
don't
to
know
change
why
our
we
letter?
change it.
Okay.
The
Well,
man that's
let's-
gonna come, same spot, he's gonna pop in here versus that door. I don't know why you want to change it. Everyone's been 22 forever, never.
Well, the DDA used to use 20.
Oh, did they?
I just, probably new director just didn't know, so we went with 22.
I went with 22 when I was here.
So it's all Joe's fault. I want to make sure there's no costs involved. And I know these guys are real tired of moving village furniture. And I know that because I know how many times they moved village furniture.
I have no idea how much they do.
What, the stuff in the basement stayed in the basement.
Yeah.
You're welcome down.
Well, there's a lot down there.
Oh, I know.
It's quite organized in a lot of senses, and there's a couple of things that weren't, but for the most
Right.
part, you can go down there and get to the right location and find what you're looking for. Now, we would like to put a sign there in the back that says DDA chamber, and then the sign up front is fading quite bad. So that's something small and simple.
Could we do signage with the newer logo this
Yes, that was,
with
if we did it, then yes.
I did have a comment about that. The Village of Oxford Council actually adopted the logo that's around formally in like 2000. I think if we're gonna switch to that logo,
need to formally adopt?
I think we need to formally adopt it. Because that's why we've got that stained glass in there, that one of the employees made,
Depends.
the pin, right?
But we're not gonna have the Oxford England thing in the background, right?
That is the logo, so you'd have, if you
Well,
want to
that's the
change
current
it.
So you're saying, yeah, okay.
If we're gonna, you want to change it.
It don't matter to me, I just think there's no,
I don't disagree, but I just think if we're gonna go to this, we need to formally adopt this as our logo.
Like our letterhead. Oh, like this?
So that's not.
No, that's
like
Chamber of
this-
Commerce
this guy
logo.
right here.
No, it's the gazebo.
So
only
the
special people get those jackets.
But the gazebo's in there with it, I see.
DDA did a tech visit with Main Street back in 12, and all of these were developed. I guess I was not aware that those were never approved.
I don't believe they were ever approved.
Let's get them approved.
Way before my time.
Way before
Couldn't
my
say.
time.
Right. I'm gonna tell you it wasn't.
And then
And I just think it should be,
Yeah.
and I say we still keep the stained glass, because I think the employee did a heck of a job on it, it's beautiful, but I hate the logo too. But I think we need to formally adopt it.
Well, that's another issue, so let's talk about that another time, but I agree with you. So what's our, what do we want to do about the administrative office? You need a motion? What do we do? What do we need to make that?
I'll have much rather do it with somebody to acknowledge it and then if they're okay with it versus not.
We seem to do this thing where we have a whole bunch of employees, we don't have enough space, then we don't have any employees, we have all the space. And I don't want to waste more space. So I'd like to see something happen with the old village office. If we're gonna move over here, you don't get it as an office, Mike. You don't get to just, you have a Batman room.
I have a really good reason if you want to hear it.
I'm sure you do.
Chief?
Oh,
You want
yes,
a really good
we
reason?
are cramped in our booking room. When you're processing a prisoner, you are right up on top of them. So we would like to expand our booking room, take that wall out so we have more space in there where the current copy machine is. Yes, utilizing those offices would open that up for us as well and to have meetings instead of utilizing, because this is going to be taken up and used by other departments. But instead of it sitting there and rotting like the township old offices, well, we could certainly utilize that space and use it very well. So that's an option. We would like to have that option if you guys can't find somebody to rent that out, or at least if anything, let us have that copy room area so we can take that wall out and expand that area and then block it off at the doorway there where you guys come in.
Yeah, it's already got the door.
Yeah.
With that.
So that's an option for you guys to think about.
Is that a new wall? Or, because that was for this old office. Do you remember if that wall was put up and split when we redid the building, or
I don't remember.
We'd have to check to see what we need to put our.
if we go in the basement to the Oxford Building Authority plans for the building? I think that's a new wall, because that used to be the chief of police's office.
And that load bearing wall, you're saying,
Yeah.
in order to divide
Yeah.
a wall, existing room perhaps.
It might be, yeah.
That'd make it easier, of course, for making at least an archway into it, if not removing it all.
Yeah, because with the state police that comes out and tests our breathalyzers, even comments, there's, I can't believe you guys have to work in this kind of space. Like, well, we man.
Yeah, that was kind of it, I mean, that this place was sitting here unused, and we just thought it'd give us a better space to work in.
Will there be a space in there for, a desk or something that council can use?
Yeah, there's gonna be at least one desk, like Dan is in 3 days a week. He's got a desk back there, the building inspector will be around on this side, he'll have a desk. Yeah,
Be nice to have like a council
yeah,
prep space, if you will, where, obviously we're not all in there at the same time, but
yeah, there's space for sure.
Right now, they kind of use desk serves as that. That's
Yeah.
when everybody comes in or whoever they usually perch there.
What are they gonna do for a copier?
I talked to Glenn, because he has one over here that he wouldn't need.
So you're gonna give them
That would
Glad's
do
old
that.
one?
I gotta find out if we could go in that copy room right now, easy enough. But if that ended up getting expanded later, then we would find a different spot for it.
We could still, even with the copier in there, if we just did I think Don and I had talked, or we had talked about maybe doing the half wall portion there, putting everything up on, if you take out half the wall and you put all our equipment on that.
Oh, for the booking room area?
Yeah, and then we would still be able to fit that copy
Oh,
machine
okay,
in there
perhaps
too.
stay there,
Yeah.
even if you
Yeah,
expand.
yeah.
Well, I think the whole village office will be empty, so there's probably gonna be space.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was gonna be an option for us to utilize that or not, I'm just saying at the very least, we'd like to have that copy room area. If you guys decide to figure out a way to rent that out or something.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we could definitely, myself, my sergeant, we could utilize that space, and have meetings and whatnot in there. But, that's an option for you guys if you
okay.
could definitely use it.
And what would be the anticipated cost of moving, police into that space?
Other than labor, and I don't know what it would take, I mean, their labor, they can take already.
Right.
Like I said, we were talking about when they don't spend their time on the roads, then they're obviously going into the sewer water general fund. A lot of the small stuff, we can move ourselves.
What about
It's the large
phones?
stuff. Phones will plug in onto our network over here. The network,
So I'll say no.
They're all, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't have much, it'd be just a matter of a few desks and some cabinets.
yeah.
Well, I'd like-
I would imagine it would be a good long day though.
Yeah, we get some police officers to help us and stuff.
Absolutely, I'm your guy.
Full of reserves.
Yes, yes.
I'm thinking the football team.
Hey, if we get that space, we will make it happen.
All right, well, again, I think it looks great over here, and I think it's a great idea. It looks more professional. So with that, I make a motion to move the administrative offices of the Village of Oxford to the former Parks location, and to allow the police department to move into the current location of the the current admin location. But with that, there comes a caveat, we want to plan to get the other side renovated and rented out. That's my motion.
I'll support that. Because it's 7:15 in the morning.
All right,
It's what I do.
there's a motion with support to move the administrative offices and police offices from the Village of Oxford. Any discussion? All right, do we need to roll call on this?
Not this
That's not-
one.
No. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Just regular decaf coffee thing, I don't want your coffee.
Perfect, thank you.
And donuts.
Decaf's on the left.
Who is it?
Donut options.
I thought someone said there too, so I don't think.
All right, moving on to our second point of business here, the Memorial Parade. This was on the agenda the other day, last week, and came back as well, so.
And like I said, I put it on there because you had asked me to put it on there. I really was, it was more about the memo I had in there, the last meeting just said, perhaps you could find a way to you know, because we still never concluded how we're gonna handle reimbursement of costs. I don't think there's any appetite to charge them any of those costs for this Memorial Day parade, but remember at the end of last year, we were gonna look into that come January, how those costs, if any, are reimbursed back to the village. It wasn't ever decided, and this is the first event coming at us.
Right. Have they formally submitted an application?
No. I gave it to them, we had a conversation there on the back porch. You saw the email, their parade fee or application fee has been paid. I'd like to work with him to try to help facilitate him with his insurance through his carrier, his current carrier, just to remind him, hey, it shouldn't be any cost to you. Just add us as a different insured and fax it over to us or email to us, and if we covered, there shouldn't be any cost, because he indicated they already have insurance from the national.
Right. I think it makes sense for us to, you know, absorb, you know, some of those costs, all of those costs. I mean, as we've talked before, it makes sense for the community to have some of these functions and some of these parades. It's a Memorial Day parade, so obviously we would want to be a part of that. I don't necessarily like the attitude with which you have been treated in terms of this, and you know, everybody's going to go through the same process. There's an application process, and you know, individual circumstances may vary, and we can adjust and look at those individual circumstances as we're making our decisions. But it's very difficult to make a decision if they've not formally applied.
Right.
So I would, I guess, you know, do you need a motion today, or just kind of, you know?
I'll reach back out to the gentleman to say.
I would love to have
where he's
that.
at in the situation.
Yeah, I'd love to have that application sooner than later. I guess at this point, it's the May, you know,
Yeah.
the May meeting.
Far away.
What are they thinking it's gonna cost because of the reimbursement? Or-
The only cost, I mean, first you thought there was a cost for the insurance, and that's a little.
No, I mean for the,
Oh, our cost.
Right.
Well, I read the cost from the Christmas parade, and it was only around $200.
But this is a smaller
And this is
parade.
smaller, yeah, so.
but it does take a lot of police presence to close all the streets,
Similar to the Christmas parade,
probably.
but less space and less
I
duration.
mean, Have
But still
they,
bodies are, yeah.
have they received a permit from MDOT?
No, because Mike doesn't request those in until he gets an application,
All right.
right? Okay.
So they need to, I guess, yeah, reach back out to them. We need an application ASAP to get that going.
Mhm.
You could get that MDOT side going without it coming down us first.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
timing wise, if we
Yeah.
don't see it until our next meeting.
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to do it that way anyway, just to go ahead and get the ball rolling on that and then get the paperwork from them.
Time-wise, could you just go on based on last year's time, which I don't recall?
That's pretty much what we've been doing the last few years, so yeah.
Do you end up right now, the time to
Yeah,
just get
yeah,
it?
I've got a file with all the parade information in it, so, yeah, we can make that work.
And I guess reiterate to him, and if you need me to reach out to him too, I will, but council is committed to, you know, a Memorial Day function,
Mhm.
but we're also committed to process, and we're committed to professionalizing our municipality and ensuring that the entities that are operating on our streets for special events have coverage. You know, God forbid something should happen and somebody gets injured during a parade, that's not our parade, you know, and then that liability comes back to us. And so, you know, I think some of the language that was used in the email to you made it seem as though this council, you know, is anti-veteran and anti-parade, and we're not. We're anti-risk. And so we want to do what's in the best interest of all of our constituents. And I think Memorial Day Parade's a great idea. But we need an application and we need proof of insurance. And, you know, if, you know, we'll go from there. So.
That was much more diplomatically put than I would have ever said. Yeah, I took a lot of personal offense to that email.
It is what it is. I'll definitely reach out to them. And I know, Mike, you were in the, were part of their parade last year. So maybe the two of us can communicate with them.
Send Katie down there in her uniform to talk to.
I'd love to.
Does it still fit? Because God knows mine
I've
wouldn't.
actually lost a lot of weight since those days, you wouldn't believe it, I can show you some pictures. Yeah.
So we'll definitely reach out to them and try to at least get it back on track, keep it on track, and make sure it just doesn't become an issue that doesn't need to become.
Right.
Great. Absolutely. Okay. Anything else on the Memorial Parade? All right, moving on to budget amendment, DPW summer help.
Last summer, we put an ad in the paper, it was kind of late, it was a smaller dollar amount, $11, something like that. The person that had been here about 3 years in a row, we thought was coming back, then he got a full-time job somewhere else, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, but that person wasn't able to come and do it. We never did get anybody to even apply. Partly because, Don, like you mentioned, maybe we were a little late, some of the summer help people had already reached out or gone out and got jobs. I didn't have anything in the budget for the summer help. Last summer would have been going through the June, May and June of last year would have been the budget that was in place when I got here. And the one that we put in place July 1, I didn't have indication or know that that was something to add in or not. I didn't know we had been, when I first started to put it together in March of that year. And so therefore it isn't in the one that's going to run out at the end of this June as well. Don and I were thinking we're going to have to pay more like 15 an hour to get somebody in here to do the work. Well, that's what we'd like to put out there. And
How many hours is it?
probably for the summer, we're looking at around 800 hours to 1,000 hours in May, June, July, August. So you're looking at if you put in July, August, and then the following May, June, 4 months, it's about 10 to 12 grand. For this year, if you want to do something now, about half of that would get us to May and June. If not, some gentleman came in and put an application in here about 2 weeks ago. I didn't see him. Looking for part-time work for the DPW already.
Are we talking about the summer help or
Yes.
the beach help? Because there's a
Summer help.
difference.
Summer help.
Okay.
Summer DPW help, not the
Okay.
beach. The beach is in there. Beach is in the budget.
Right.
And it was in the budget, and I had those in again, but we don't have anything in for summer help. We put it all last summer, basically one hand short than they were used to having. And I could definitely use it for some of those menial tasks.
How many are you looking for, Don?
Just one.
Just one? Okay. How many days a week is it?
It's fine, it's the same schedule we work,
Okay.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 3.
Full-time, but it's temporary, so like 4 months, May, June, July, August.
Okay.
So before I put it in paper, we don't have anything budgeted for it, so we would have to add that amount into this year's budget, do an amendment to wrap up May, June, and then,
And there's room in that to do that?
well, but there's nothing in there, we would have to amend it to add it in. Now, there are some things that have not been expended out.
Right.
Attorney fees, for one, we're way low on, probably enough to pay for this individual for the whole season. So I didn't want to put, go through something in the paper last week or this week till we had a conversation about it. There's at least support by the council to get the person on board. So I don't have a formal budget amendment in front of you to tell you how much, and is there something that's offset somewhere else that has some little extra money that would be offset to some degree?
I'm currently under budget in DPW.
In certain areas,
Certain areas.
so certain areas over, like I said, when they don't work in the streets, then they get pushed somewhere else. Well,
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna spend them in the streets, now they're gonna go over somewhere else, just
Right.
by virtue of they go wherever their hours are needed. It's not over, the cost overall isn't over, but it just moves from location to location.
And with those attorney fees, and not to get off track at all, but just real quick, where are we on that litigation? Because is it still?
We haven't heard anything in about a couple months.
Because we don't know if that's gonna come back and cost more, or if that's,
Well, our insurance carrier is the one
that would
handling that case.
take it if we
Bob
accept it.
Bob's intermediary, and so has some cost, but
Yeah,
most of
we're
that cost is borne by them.
still under budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
I,
So I guess at this point, you want to do the budget amendment now without,
or at least permission to put the ad in the paper this week.
all right,
So it would go in this week and go in the paper next week.
What's-
So,
Friday's a deadline, so it
Yeah.
will be in next week's paper.
what's the wage of your current, let me rephrase that.
What's Rich make?
What's your,
19 something.
okay, all right.
My son does landscaping, he gets $12 an hour. And a landscaping crew, I got no problems paying $12 an hour. And I think we need to look at all the wages in the village. at some point during the
Absolutely.
budget
I
process.
completely agree.
Because some of our employees are woefully underpaid. And then Don's just raking in the bucks, and we just need to take some.
Well, we skin a little bit off everybody and give it to Don. You know.
They skin graphed my back last year.
Yeah. Just to the point though, for the attorney fees on page 4, we had budgeted about 60,000 and then we're at 19,000 year to date. That's one of the areas that we have some.
Well, it doesn't hurt that Bob's been sick for months, he can't do anything.
That's part of it, and part of it, we haven't quite needed him as much as the previous years. I mean, a lot of that stuff's been worked out,
Right.
settled down.
Yeah,
And
with transition.
Don, do you think $12 an hour is good?
That was my question.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I mean, it's summer help, it's not.
12 to 12.50, and then if they return, like next year, you'd give them maybe another 40 cents or 50 cents. If they return the following year, you give them, you gotta have some incentive.
What did we pay 2 years? Was it last year? We didn't have one.
correct.
Last year, we didn't have one. I think Woody made like, 10.50, but we started him out at minimum wage, like 3 years prior.
Right. Yeah, I got no problems paying 12.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have any problems with paying $12.50.
Taco Bell's got $11 an hour for starting down there when I went by there.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard to get kids to come out and sweat for
Right.
about the same money.
Yeah, and I do agree with your statement about revisiting some of the, not myself, but for the full-time employees,
Yeah.
their wage scale and retaining, I mean, we've retained our employees in our department for a long time. I think there needs to be, there's something said for that, but we need to look at parity of other communities and see, make sure we're on target for.
We've just started the last year of the current contract, isn't it? Is it March?
Ends in June 2020.
Okay, so we're about to start the final year of the contract. So in 2020, the police and the EDAX and the union contracts are both up.
Okay.
So, because those right now are, the wages are set within that
Right.
current.
All right. Well, I make a motion to approve the DPW summer help position with a budget amendment coming to us at our next meeting.
Support.
Any discussion? There's a motion with support. These are pretty quiet this morning.
I think you do roll call.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Kemp? Yes. Frost?
Yes.
Helen?
Yep.
Logan? Yes. Bailey? Absent.
I moved on to the 2019-2020 budget discussion.
Okay, this budget is actually better than the one I gave you last time. The last time was just a rehash of the previous year, just to get, Allison and Kate just familiar with the layout and stuff. I do have copies of the bond that's got over here, but those aren't necessary to. So the biggest thing to look at the very front page is the very top one, that says revenue and expenditures. The 19,371, that is in the pink there on line 11. The way, what I got budgeted right now, it means we'll have $19,000 extra in our budget, not pulling from our fund balance. So that means we would be adding 19,000 to our fund balance, the way it's laid out now. Now, big caveat, couple things. If you go through here, the ones that are still in blue are ones that I haven't gone through and verified and done. Anything in white has been looked at and verified, whether it's utilities or medical insurance, things like that. Our medical insurance is going down about $6,000 this year. Working with our agent, again, it's done a good job for us. I think that both the police and the accident folks are quite happy with the change. And we're going down about $6,000 this year as well. You don't usually hear that. So a lot of them have been done, a lot of them are just going back. Yesterday I was going through and all, looking through 12 months of consumer disparity for all of their applications, so we have to do the DCE and stuff like that. The biggest, let me see, what is that? There is one more bond on line 43 on page 1 that's going to be paid off in March of next year. That will help take some front page there, that highlighted yellow. That's the last one. Last year we have the budget for that.
Okay. And how much will that free up, annually moving forward?
About $200,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that was this capital improvement bond.
So this ends March 2020?
Yeah, 3/1 of 2020. Part of that is paid by the DDA, 24%, 76% us. So the DDA can as well.
Excuse me.
Look at page 3, line 107. Now, part of the reason we're in the black in the budget is that $91,000, there's a fund, 204 fund, that has $91,000, it's capital improvement fund. It wasn't being used for anything, we didn't touch it at all last year. And, you know, we are doing capital improvement on the roads,
Right.
and we are doing capital improvement in town. And so,
Can use those.
we could use that money, I mean, that would zero out that account, but it's just sitting there, capital improvement fund, and with no activity going on in it. I don't know why we wouldn't use it for our capital improvements, we have a lot now.
That makes sense.
I don't have the money in here for, we get the MDOT grant in the roads, that's not figured in, that's $85,000 we're hoping to find out that we will receive for the roads fund. This is the general fund, of course, is separate, but, there are some monies we're gonna have to set aside toward the end of this year for the 2020 project. Some of that is roads, some of it's water. Those aren't set in here yet. This is more just operational funds. But that money, for that optional capital improvement bond, so we can move that money into the general fund and help that pay that part of that bond.
The 401 capital project fund?
Yes.
Is that to build the building?
I don't know the history for sure.
I think you want to find, because if it's to build a building,
The,
it's limited on what it can be spent on.
Okay.
But I just don't remember. But was it the 401, the OBA, Building Authority?
I don't know. That money was there, and I'm like, it's a capital improvement fund, and we didn't get 401.
All right, let me find out, because if it is, and it's limited, it can only be used on certain things for the building, because we bonded to build the building.
Which one?
The addition on 22 West Burdick that built the county room and remodeled the police department.
Okay.
We bonded for that in about 92, 93. And if that's what that money's from, then it can
We have
only
to
be
see what
used.
the bond
Right.
language was for,
Yeah.
if it's for this complex or just for that building, or is it?
It was just for the building, I believe. So yeah, we'll have to see.
So we've had 90 grand since the 90s that we
One,
have been using.
I don't know, I don't, but it's just the 401 capital project that caught my eye.
Well, there's the money from the other side.
I don't know that it can be used on that building, because it can only be used on this building if it's for the addition.
It's gonna be a hell of an office, Mike.
I'm getting excited, yeah.
That's why.
See our flooring, our walls.
That's why I have this highlighted and optional, and I think, well, I already have bonds, we have capital improvement bonds from 2005. And why can't we use the capital?
I just don't remember
Village
where the
capital
money
project
came from.
fund, so that's something I'll have to look into the history on
Do
and
some
find
digging and find out.
out. Now, there, I do have money in the police fund, we're looking at for a car. I know we already got a car, but I thought,
That was to
well,
replace the damaged car.
I understand, that's what I'm saying. So I have money, if you look on, police doesn't, it covers more than one page, page 7 is the bottom of the police. And I had 45 grand in the vehicle, because that was the chief's wishes. The budget was looking pretty good, if we use that money, that helps it.
Did you look at those lease options I sent you guys?
I did, and we actually brought that up at the last council meeting. It's a 7% interest, and the whole reason they said that they brought this up back in the day was, so if there was money constraints in the budget, you wouldn't have to use so much and you could stretch it out.
Right.
But I think, because Joe and I had talked, instead of spending the 7%, we thought, or I thought, we're in a good position right now because we had to replace the damaged car, and then if we go into the next fiscal year and we replace originally the car that's got the 118,000 miles on it, we will be at par where we need to be with vehicles, we'll be set, and then we can start every year 10,000 for
Start
the next
budgeting for the
budget,
next one.
10, and then when we get to 30,000 3 years from now, say, okay, it's time to get a car, and then 3 years is usually when you start replacing vehicles. and moving them down the line. So I think we're in a good position to do that, and I have to pay the 7%. So we have to
That makes
do that.
sense. Well, thank you for checking into that.
And I think if also as an option too, because we had to get the Ford Explorer because that was the only thing available right now, and that's sitting down at Synergy right now getting outfitted. I really appreciate that. The Dodge Charger, even though we've had issues with the V6 Dodge Charger, the engines, maybe the V8 all-wheel drive will be a better package since the components on the Charger from the previous car is sitting down at the uniform shop. It would save us on outfitting because most of those components will fit on a Dodge Charger. Unfortunately, we've had those issues with the V6 engines, so it's an option to think about if you guys want, because it would save us a few thousand if we did get another Dodge Charger, V8 all-wheel drive instead of the V6 option. So that's something to look at too, because it'll be half the cost outfitting it because we have already the light bar, the cage in the car, and other components, lights and sirens and stuff that go on in it. So I asked Chuck down at Synergy if he would give me a quote. I guess it was too short a time for that. So I will have that together and give you guys a more solid price on that. That would be an option. That would save us a few thousand too if we wanted to go that route. Take our chances and see if maybe the V8 engine is a better engine than what we've been dealing with. But I do know that the last couple that we've had in and out of the shop way too many times. But I would like to have a Ford Explorer fleet, but I know we're looking to try to save some money and use some of that in other areas that we can.
So yes, that is in there.
Okay.
Like I said, because the numbers are looking good. Again, the wild card is that bond money. I'm gonna go back to page 2, just to some of the revenue stuff. I did leave the cable franchise fee as they were. I didn't make any changes for the last couple of years. They've been about that amount, so I left them. I know there was a discussion, and I wasn't sure. Page 2 on line 82. That was left in. I know there was talk, I don't know where it's going to go, but again, so that decision is, if you give it away, then that obviously will change the big picture of top as to how much are we digging into fund balance or not.
Do we, how much of those funds do we use for, pulling limbs off of lines and right-of-way maintenance?
I had like 18 grand or so, like last summer and fall, and some tree work, and there was a water repair that they tore up the sidewalk, and we actually had to contract it out with guys to do some boring. I'm not sure if that was on that one yet, it might have been, because that was like 4 grand or something, if I remember right. So 18 grand was just some things that I had notes on about them working in the road right away and stuff. Treeing was a big part of it. Some was in the right away that did now, so some was in the park, so that didn't count.
And that's the way that contract exists, is that we absorb the responsibility of all that?
There really isn't a contract for those, you mean with the cable fees? There isn't any dictation as to how you have to spend them, where like Metroact fees, I think we get like 16 grand a year.
Yeah. I looked at my cable bill, it's like, looks like it's maybe $5 a month.
It's supposed to be only a portion, the 5% on your cable part, so if you have a phone and internet, it's not supposed to be part of that. It's only on the cable portion that's supposed to be charged to. So if you have like 100 kicked out bill, which some people do, you won't pay the full, because I don't get you pay more. Just the cable portion is what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to pay it on your phone and internet.
I never look at it as it's our money, it's like we're taking someone else's money.
Again, and without any direction from you guys, I left, that's what I make a point, I left it in as it was when I got here, as it was the last year or two. Until I get direction. Otherwise, I just want to point that out, that is in there.
But isn't the purpose of those funds for working in the road right of way? I mean, because they're in your community, so I mean.
That was the, yeah.
That was the intention.
You aren't restricted to do that, that's the
Right.
point. It's not like the Metroact fees. Metroact fees, you can't use it on the surface, it can only be used in the road right away.
But that money's actually for government, education, and things like that. We just take it and spend it and try to claim it's for road right away.
Where can I get more information on this? Because I want to read what it actually says.
Why do this, why does this money come to us then?
Because the cable companies have their lines through our jurisdiction.
So the cable companies have to pay us in theory.
To be in our
give it
road
back.
right of way. And anything that happens in that road right of way that needs repair is a cost to the village.
Will this increase with Comcast coming?
Will it increase?
Will it increase because of the?
Well, we have a franchise agreement for Comcast, so as they add any new customers, because they're gonna be doing, Comcast is coming up to M24, doing a large project, do glass being around and running a whole bunch of cable. So as they add customers, they might be an offset, they might be taking charter customers and moving them to them, so it might be kind of an offset. Because we're both at 5% on both of those agreements. The cable franchise agreement for charter, the one that's what the cable commission runs out this August, so that's all going to come to all of our communities to be rehashed or rethought, and we're all going to end up with our own individual one. The state didn't relate to the charter told me, yeah, that you're end up with your own, both townships and both villages will have their own individual one, because they don't have these multi-jurisdictional ones aren't allowed anymore.
Do you know, like, I just want to understand what the boilerplate language of this is, because I want to know how creative I can be with, the potential of communications and public education, because that's pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't know, I've never seen a directive as to what they're to be used for. They go to the community to help the community fund and maintain the areas where those cable lines run, but it's not dictated that you use it for that, whereas the
We
Metro
can
Act.
use the money for anything we want.
Oh, okay, because I thought we were very limited to, this is for public education, that's very simple, it's not.
No, the cable company gets the PEG fees for that.
Yeah,
We get our portion, we take our portion, we can do anything we want, we can have breakfast, we can
you can pay
build
for
a
road,
park,
you can
we
build, you
can
fix
do
your
anything
roads,
we
you can do
want,
whatever you want.
right?
But the PEG fees and the franchise fees are two separate things.
Yeah, the PEG definitely has to go right to the channel.
Those-
That's that 2%
Right.
optional one. 100% of
Sure.
it needs to go to the channel operator.
So the PEG fee is not the 33,000?
Correct.
That's franchise.
Yeah, it wouldn't even show up in here, it wouldn't go to us. It would be collected by us and spent, right, transferred right over to them.
Okay, got it.
And the thing with the charter is the Addison and Oxford Township, Leonard and us, all those monies are collected at Oxford Township. They disperse them to OCTV, and then they send us our half. So we don't collect it and have to send it out. It's all goes to Oxford Township, and then they disperse it according to everyone
I
else's
see. Okay.
plan or desires. Because it's that multi-jurisdictional agreement.
That makes a lot more sense.
My understanding is Leonard and Addison and us are all on the same boat that give them half of the 5% charter fee. I have no idea if they have talks about, I would assume that they've been approached by OCTV to make a change. I haven't verified, I was talking about last week about maybe calling out to Addison Township and Guy Leonard to see if they have any thoughts what they're gonna do, just so you could maybe hear what their thought, whether it helps you make a decision or not, or if it matters or not. Maybe we could at least understand, if you want to, if they're thinking of making a change. Doesn't mean you have to.
I know I've mentioned before my desire to bring on somebody to really champion the communications piece with this MDOT project. And I don't know if that would be more of a DDA budget item, because they'd be probably working with Glenn on that more so than with the village, but the way I look at that is like there's a big chunk of that budget is to be that communications piece. Because that's going to alleviate a whole lot of confusion and anxiety and problems that we have with residents right. And then also working with the businesses in order to make sure that they have a marketing or a strategy plan moving forward, because I haven't seen anything
Yeah, and there's been a
yet
lot
about that.
of discussion about that, and there's somebody that, kind of Main Street is going to provide a consultant to the DDA to help put together kind of a plan. They talked about contests and, mascots and a campaign, how are you going to deal with it? There was a lot of ideas before about that. That again, Glenn's kind of spearheading that end of it. I'm more worried about our infrastructure project with the water line and stuff.
I worry about the whole thing.
Yeah,
Because I feel like and this is getting off topic a little bit, I want to get us out of here by 8. But we're a year out. and there's no plan.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're hearing updates here and there. I mean, we don't know when the next M24 task force meeting is. I've not heard. You know, yeah, you know, Glenn's talking with, you know, Main Street with this consultant. That's great, but what's the plan?
There's no plan for the businesses or for the road?
For promoting our community.
Okay, for the businesses, okay.
And not only the businesses, but, you know, here, you know, I mean, maybe it's on the website too. Here's the alternative, you know, detours. Here's the, you know, things like that need to get out there. And I'm not saying it needs to get out there now, but I'm saying we've got 12 months and we need to be, really we've got longer than that, because, you know, we know when the ribbon's gonna be cut, so to speak, November of 2020, all right? Let's start working backwards. What do we need and where, you know? And, you know, I hadn't thought about that for a communications piece, but, you know, maybe the village starts to be more in the driver's seat than the DDA, because honestly, I'm not impressed with the DDA.
And I know in Glenn, I have taken his budget that he emailed me a week or two ago, and I was plugging it in to his budget here, and one of the things he had was some part-time help, administrative office help. And I think it might have been partly related to the project, was why he was looking. Other than seeing a number on a spreadsheet yesterday, I don't know the whole plan of it,
Okay.
or what the reason for it was, but it was in there and it was approved by the DPA, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, it's administrative help is one thing, having somebody with a vibrant personality
Communication,
who
PR,
can get out there and talk with somebody. It's like, and I don't put any weight on what people put on the public forums and things like that. Those are, you know, those aren't owned by us and whatever, but I've already seen like negative comments being thrown out there about there's no direction, what's gonna happen, you know, the lack of communication. I just know when things get rolling, it's gonna be, it spreads like cancer, right? And like, we're gonna end up dealing with the burden of that. Okay, so I'd rather put a plan in place with a very competent person now to do that for even, you know, it doesn't have to be a full-time position. I think that even a communications intern, right, from one of the universities or colleges locally, like would be immensely helpful when it comes to mastering messaging on social media and, you know what I mean, maybe even organizing some town halls at the library, things like that, where we can just put as much messaging out there as possible. I think it's really imperative we do that and make that plan for that now, because like Joe said, we're a year out, and I'm shocked at the fact that we're still kind of in this phase.
Even something as simple as a temperature sign out on our front lawn that says this much time until, like you see when people raise money for certain things, this much time until the 2020 project, you know, and the bubble gets redder and redder. Yeah.
Prepared.
I think
We talked about that, those leadership meetings,
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
were attended by a lot of the task force folks.
Right.
A lot of those ideas, we had our boards up here for a while, working those ideas down, so.
You know, we could call James,
Vetrano?
Vetrano.
I
I
emailed
couldn't
him.
remember his last name.
I emailed him.
I
said,
don't know if
"Hey."
Rochester College has any communications interns that are coming up, or,
Yeah.
Well, you almost want, this is almost a completely different topic, agenda item, but you almost want somebody with more experience in intern, you know, who knows how to get out there, knows how to communicate, use multifaceted forms of communication, who has some more experience than just an intern. I mean, and maybe you still do an intern, you know, you get a person, you know, it's a set term, it's a 18-month, you know, limited position, and you still provide an intern, you know, for, you know, $5,000 or something like that to kind of sweeten the pot. So you build that capacity with a little more knowledge, and then the intern to help. I'm just thinking out loud.
yeah, I don't know what's out there.
We're dramatically behind the times. We need a platform to be able to say, this is what's going on today, water rate, whatever, for this short time. But if we can get our message out there, get ahead of things, so our community can see what we do and how we show that we are
And
competent.
it's probably a little bigger than even the M24 project. You know, it's a robust communications update.
Like the lack of transparency, you know, in the past has been an issue. And so I really want to address that and fix it. But in the MDOT project, it's imperative we do that now. So,
Will you be at the meeting with Glenn and that consultant?
I plan on it, I'm not sure when it is.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I can get with them that weekly about that light up their verdict and see if we can get some help. They're willing to help pay for it. School board might carry the brunt of it if there's something.
This is off topic, but budget related. Is there any budget, and maybe this is a conversation with Polly and trail folks too, but I walk the trail a lot with my kids. And the other day we almost got hit. Not once, but twice.
On the trailer crossing.
Crossing at West Burdick. You push the button, but that doesn't seem to be enough, because people still blow through that. So, what can we do budget-wise, administrative-wise? Can we put a stop sign there? Can we put a stoplight there? I'm just thinking out loud, can we put a signage that says stop, must stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk? Because I've now experienced it with 3 small children, but I've seen on social media too that this is an ongoing issue, that people refuse to slow down, they refuse to stop when those hawk lights are going.
Yeah.
Are the people who hit you headed east?
There was actually, it was one was headed east, one was headed west.
Because I always thought eastbound, you don't see those lights.
There's some visibility issues
Yeah.
as you come down the hill.
And I always said, you approach a light, but you don't really see the light, and it'll say, prepare to stop when flashing, because there's a light over the hill. I always thought that maybe that's what we needed there.
I've experienced it both ways, being on the road. That light, actually, that blinking, that yellow light, since it's been there, we've actually had more accidents since that was put there than before. And a lot of people have the idea that once they push that yellow light, then they can dart out into the right.
Right.
No, you can't do that. You have to wait.
Right.
You have it when you walk out there as long as it's clear.
Right.
Then you'll get cars that will see the blinking yellow light, and the person's 10 or 20 feet away, and they're stopping, waiting for that yellow light to stop. I'm like, what are you guys doing? There's nobody in the crosswalk. They see the yellow flash and they think they have to stop.
Right.
So they're a little confused with
Right.
that. We've put that out. We've educated people on that, but for some reason it just, because they'll see the yellow light, it's like, oh, it never happened before that sign. And then we do a lot of traffic on Burdick Street because of that hill also. Matter of fact, I just had a court date last week because I still get out and do some traffic. And people that are coming into, they're going eastbound, coming into the village, and they're coming to that hill, and they're getting into the cemetery, and they're still streamlining 40 plus as they're coming down that hill. They're passing the 25 sign, they're passing my patrol car, and I'm still clocking them 40 plus, even after they pass me. And everybody's, well, that's too soon, I didn't, that's a speed trap. And if there's no such thing as a speed trap, please don't ever say that to me again. But anyway, you had the sign, you had me, and then you had beyond me, and I still clocked you at 40 plus. So, and we've got, matter of fact, it's on I call it our sandwich board in our station. But that's one of our hot spots as far as West Burdick Street, as well as Washington, and then everybody that's cutting through the subs during those.
And those solar flashers you see at the crosswalks and like that, they're about 14 grand for a pair of them installed.
Right.
Perhaps a single one up there coming down the hill with a flasher, 25, would go, hey, whoops, I better smarten up here. I need to slow down.
Everybody knows it's 25. I mean,
Yeah.
There's some that don't realize it, they're just cutting through here.
Yeah.
Most of them are, they've been here through here before.
Yeah.
But there's some, because you got, you go from a wide open area to a closed area and downhill.
Right.
or even where it goes from 35 to 25 to 25, could we get one of those like LED lit 25 mile per hour signs? Because I think maybe that stands out a lot more where people are like,
It's
oh.
not a bad idea, yeah, because
Yeah.
you have the 25 sign before you get to where the cemetery is at if you're coming eastbound, and then you start to come down the hill, and after that, I mean, I think there's still a 25 sign there right by the guardrail. So if you have something there, it's like, that's lit up saying, hey, 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 hey,
Right.
you know, that will kind of, because people are kind of, they're coming into the zone, and like, oh, dee-dee-dee.
Well, maybe there's signage further out too that says, caution, trail, upcoming or something.
Yeah.
Again, just that you're educating drivers.
Yeah. That's
We
a good idea.
assume they're all residents blowing through there. but
Yeah.
They're not, you
Yeah,
know.
They're treaters.
Well,
Yeah.
people are in autopilot. They've got 50 things on their mind, and they're coming in out of a 40, and they're coming in the zone, and they're just not, for the most part, they're.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's room in the budget where we can look at some of those options, maybe some additional
Maybe look at some
signage.
ideas.
Either way, I don't know, you know, some places you see in the middle, you've got a little, it's not a bollard, that's the wrong word. The little
Oh.
floppy plastic that says
Yeah.
pedestrians, you know, it just,
Delineator.
it's a little delinear that just, it's in the middle of the lane, it just slows people down a little bit more, because, you know.
Do you take them out in the winter time? They do.
Yeah, I would assume.
And if we do that, we need to get on both sides, because I'll get people going westbound as well, at the same speed, at the same.
Oh, coming out of the village, yeah, the hill.
Because then you think, okay, you're already in 25 zone, you already know better. But then
That's kind of the spot.
they're kicking it up because they're going up that hill and they're going out of the village into the 40.
You really, that's one of the one spots where you really do go up those both ways.
Yeah, right.
But you know, there's a lot going on in that intersection too, because you have that other road that's coming out.
West Street.
You know, there've been a number of times where there've been a truck or something, you can't see somebody on that path if you're heading west. And like you said, coming east, you have that hill, but there are a number of people who don't use the flashers. They just get there and stop. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's somebody there. So, you know,
Yeah.
but I think you're right. I think you need more signage. And again, you have that side street coming out right there, and that's a,
Yeah,
you
West
know,
Street,
yeah, Frosty Boy. There's a whole lot going on in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some more warning signs, I think maybe warning people 25 ahead.
I know. Well, that's what you're
There's actually, there's a couple spots that I wanted to address too, but in the, you know, in interest of saving time and talking about the budget, like, just things that we can talk about, because to promote public safety and walkability in all areas of the village. So,
Sure.
just,
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, a couple things.
Sure.
A lot of the stuff when I got here, the clerk's department seemed to be the catch-all. Everything was piled in the clerk's department. I mean, the copier leaks, the Pitney Bowes machine leaks, the BSNA, all that stuff. So we kind of moved some of the stuff into the administration, the 265 category on page 5. So administration and building and utilities, that's where we're moving, like, we pay like $5,000 a year for paychecks for payroll process, and they should be broken up on a per individual basis. It's hard to keep breaking stuff out like that, so we're going to be putting under contract with services, the things like that. The website is now going into the administration and building utilities.
Yeah, something
instead of the
that was
web-
cost of doing business. So
Yeah, some are just plain Jane, yes, we're trying to, putting more of those into the 265 one, the administration and building and utilities. So you'll see some stuff like, well, okay, it was a bunch of the clerk last year, it's not there. Some of it's just moving over to a flat administration type cost.
Okay.
Just moving from one location to the other. Because there was a lot of stuff. Where to go? I just put the clerk's department, apparently what it looked like before.
So next steps in general, are we aiming to approve this on our May 14th meeting?
May 14th or a second one in May. I think the charter says a second meeting in May, but we don't have any more. Not to say we couldn't have one, but.
I have to ask too, was it added on the budget here as far as the full-time position that we talked about? Is that-
No. Dad, I was thinking about the essay. No, I don't think so. I was going to go back and look right before I printed this off. No, it was not.
Do we need to have another meeting like this before that?
I think so. I think we got a good one.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and just real brief, because I know we want to get out of here, but the $18,000, again, I'm just going to kind of reiterate what I talked about before. The $18,000 we pay annually to keep retraining officers to be here, and the $21,000 it would cost as far as putting that person full-time, I think a $3,000 or $4,000 investment is worth looking into for a full-time position to keep continuity here with our agency. Because we're constantly bringing people in and out of here and retraining them until they find something better or a full-time position that's got benefits.
And keep in mind, if we make a couple changes here and we're still going back to the well, we're going to borrow $80,000 out of our budget or our surplus to balance because of decisions we've made.
And
We have a big bond payment falling off at the next year. So
and
next
what is
year-
our surplus?
Well,
It's not this.
This was the beginning of last year, 881. And last year's budget, we were taking about 81,000 out to do it, so we were gonna be right around 800 grand. Now, we've done a few budget amendments throughout the year that we've added a little bit of cost to. I'd have to look currently to see where we're at. but
Can we-
I'll have that
can we
updated
have that?
number.
Yeah.
Yes. And because we get an influx of money in a certain time of year, and then the expenses go out the rest of the year, so sometimes.
And again, I want to remind everybody too, that this is a position we're asking to get back that we lost about 10 years ago. So And that would put us at a full-time position around the clock. Because right now I'm utilizing 2 part-time people at $18 an hour, 40 hours a week. And that's just not gonna cut it, and they're already chomping at the bit to leave me. And then when these people leave, it puts a big burden on the agency, and it's been like that for a few years now.
Yeah.
And that was part of that proposal that you gave us on that sheet?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so like I said, so there's this other bond, that bond falls off next year, our capital bond, so that's a big one going away. It's the one big payment at the end, but that'll be done.
Okay.
We pay the last.
Well, I like meeting at this time. I think it works. It seems to work for everybody else too, is that okay?
Yeah, I
I
have
know.
one in my hair.
Do you have no left?
It's not fun, but.
Could you plug in some of that with, you plug in the
Yeah, yeah.
officer? We'll review this and
Yes.
this is kind of the update. Can we meet next Tuesday at some time?
That's up.
The 23rd.
23rd.
I'm good.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, let's do that.
23rd at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Could we have bacon and eggs instead of lunch?
That's what you're
I'm sitting here and all I can smell is sugar. It's like, I'm gonna go into my diabetic chocolate.
I'm still gonna take 2 weeks.
Thank you.
I'll bring
for all
quiche,
that.
or bring a quiche.
Oh, I like
Yeah, or a tray of fruit or something.
Yeah.
Fruits and cheeses.
Okay.
And you see it on the right-hand side, I try to put some notes for some things that try to help, like what falls into what column, a charter, Clemis, so does anyone know what Clemis is? Clemis is what the county intranet system that the police and everything are hooked to, and we hook the county, we don't have any way around it. I think we spend like 30, 40 grand a year.
Somewhere in the
County
area,
system. It's probably split, I think, I break it down a little bit for police, a little bit for us, a little bit for DPW. But that's some system that we're in. That's why our internet's so slow, because we go through the county system, it's almost like dial-up. We have a charter in the building that we can use for any Wi-Fi stuff or wireless access, but,
And it's Clemis is the Court Law Enforcement Michigan Information System, so it's the, we're all in the county, all agencies as far as you play the same.
so if you see like what Clemis is, or what, like you see charter, you see Clemis and BSNA, we pay so much a year for BSNA for support. And each one of our modules, we have general ledger, payroll, all that stuff, utility bills. I think the feedback we've gotten so far on the new online water bill payment is all good. Yeah, more and more people come in and paying their bill, and Vicki came and telling them, well, you can pay it online. They're like, oh my gosh, you just saved my life. You know, they're like, so it's all good.
good.
I mean, it's amazing how something small like that can help them.
No, it works out. It's not the most user-friendly
Yeah.
systems, but it worked. I mean, I was away, I was in Seattle, and I paid it there, so I mean, it's kind of the beauty. That's the
And-
last check that I was writing.
Yes,
Was this
same. It's the only one that's right.
Yeah,
So
right.
so I forget all the time.
one. Okay.
One day we'll even have an app, I'm sure. So full. We'll get
What's the
there.
good time?
We'll get there. Yeah. Right now, I'm so happy it's on.
We're only 20 years into the 21st century. Okay, if there's no further business, moving on to public comment. Seeing none. Manager, staff, and attorney reports. I mean, this whole thing was kind of a report, but.
The only thing I want to say, one more thing, is on page 9, we have DPW that says employee litigation pay. I have that 44,250 is the final payment to Lovely Settlement. But if you look over on the left side column, page 3, line 319, the auditors made us put that full amount into our
Right.
budget last year, so it's already hit our balance sheet. So I'm not 100% sure if I have to reallocate it here yet. So I'm showing it here as an expense because in my mind we had to pay it. And we have to wait for another check come July. But the auditors might say, well, it already hit our books, so it's already been accounted for. So I gotta verify that.
What's the history of that? You know, what is that?
That was a former employee, so
No,
we had a meeting about it right before you came out, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I remember that one.
It was a long
Long.
5-year deal or something like that.
Since 2000. The employee's been out of work since 2010.
Yeah, they were running this building, and then they laid off / fired him, and then ensued a long drawn out deal, which finally came to fruition with the settlement in November.
last year.
Okay,
Back wages, basically is what it is.
got it, got it. Okay.
And we broke it down into 2 payments, one last fall and the one other one this next, but July this year. I'm not sure if that has to hit the budget again because the auditor, because we knew about it as we wrapped up the year, they hit.
Yes, it's a balance sheet item, it's a liability, so they don't run it through your regular revenue expenditure accounts. It's not, you're not gonna see it there. Joe and I were looking for it, it's not there. I mean, we still have to pay it,
Right.
so we expense it there, but yeah, it's
Okay.
their thing, so.
Any council comments?
I have one, just an idea, and I know that we're already kind of spread thin between meetings and work and everything else on council members, but I would love an opportunity to actually like go to each of the departments and spend time with like Chief and his guys and gals and
I was
Don.
thinking that too.
And just, I've seen other municipalities do it, and I'm not sure specifically with council members, but definitely new employees, where they kind of give them like a round robin of everything in every department, and just, so I can have a feel, like when we talk about those different kind of systems in the county, you know, the accounting systems, whatever, like I know what that means, because I've seen it and I've worked with it, so I know I can make the time, depending on what your schedules are like, to just even do like a couple hours one day, just a ride along kind of thing. I mean, these are, most of us have 4-year terms, so I think it's in our best, you know, right? like,
Look at the
interest to-
garage, look at where some of the stuff.
Right, I
Look
don't
at
think
the
I've
old
even
equipment.
been in like most of this building, to be
Yeah.
honest. So when we're talking about moving and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know, what's behind that wall? I have no idea.
Make some traffic stops. All right.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be a good time.
Here, hold these cups.
So, I mean, I can schedule that with you guys all individually, and then I would encourage my fellow council members to do the same.
It's good.
I would be definitely.
Mo, do you need tours building?
I have absolutely no plans on touring anything with you people anymore.
Mo might be seasoned enough. The rest of us, I think.
I got your back, Kate, you come with me, I'll do everything.
Yeah, I know Allison
We'll just
talked
go
a
grab a
couple weeks
beer.
ago and got to see this building and the Outback building and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it.
I have one comment. Was it last Monday? It was last Monday. I got invited to attend a roundtable with U.S. Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin. She had a roundtable in Orion Township. Orion Township hosted it. Chris Barnett put it together. But it was an opportunity for village residents and township supervisors to meet the representative and learn what her agenda is, what they're working on. She was looking for a lot of feedback from us too. She did say that she's on the Homeland Security Committee. Don't quote me on that exactly. But she said if we're ever going to go for any public safety grants or anything like that, to let her, she's got a liaison for Oakland County, let them know, and they're happy to, maybe it's vests or whatever you need on the police department side. I know we fires all township, but if we're gonna go after one of those federal grants, to let her office know, they'll set us up with a letter of support and all that.
Yeah, very good.
So something to think about.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's the only comment I have.
Make a motion to adjourn at 8:08.
Support, motion to adjourn at 8:08 with support, all those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.